It's time to podcast.
Under our bed.
I don't think this podcast studio has ever seen anything as beautiful as you look today.
Well, what about as handsome as you look today in your suit and tie?
I think it has. I think it's seen better days for me on this side, but not for you.
Oh, thank you.
Today is Easter Sunday.
It's Easter. It's a special day.
It is, and we feel like talking about the miracle of life.
Yes.
Isn't it a miracle?
It's such a miracle. Everything about it. You know, as I was walking down here to the studio, I just had foot surgery a month ago, and I was thinking, my foot hurts, but isn't it amazing like that I can have something invasive like that happen but my foot's going to heal and get better?
Yeah.
And it is healing, and it's amazing.
And it's getting better.
It's getting better.
Yeah, healing is amazing. Our body is amazing.
It is.
You just think of even just like breathing. As someone who has some trouble breathing sometimes, you just think of the breath, and it's unbelievable. Like, I don't even know how we breathe, you know?
Yeah.
And it just happens so naturally,
It's
right?
incredible.
Yeah.
The whole way everything works. It's so incredible.
And spring is kind of springing up. It's a lot more green than it was. We had a snowstorm last week, and some more rain, which I guess was good. Some more moisture, good for our state. But everything's starting to blossom and be green again. Do you love spring?
I love spring. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, what do you love about spring?
I wish, I said to the kids the other day, I wish the trees that blossom would just stay with the flowers the whole season. Like, that would be kind of cool. But then I thought about it for a minute. Maybe I don't want that.
Yeah.
Because it's it's special, that is so exciting, that I love so much about it is that it's, the flowers are here. And if they were there all the time, maybe I wouldn't feel so excited for them.
That's right. When did you say this? When were you talking to the kids?
Just the other day.
Oh, really?
In the car. Yeah.
So you said you thought you'd like to always have the flowers on. But then did you realize right away? Did you talk to the kids about that?
No,
or is this just in your own mind?
It was a little after. I was taking James to school, and after he got out of the car, I thought, actually, maybe I don't want the flowers all the time.
That's true, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's something about life, and again, the miracle of life. We all taste the bitter. We all have bitter, bad, hard things that happen to us in life, but it's kind of that bitter that leads us to being grateful and to the good, right? And feeling the good.
Yeah. It's the bitter that makes the sweet so sweet.
Yes.
So yeah, it's an interesting thing, because you think that you want things to be sweet and beautiful and amazing all the time, which in thinking, that seems like that would be a great idea. But when you really think more deeply about that concept, it doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, it's kind of like from the absence of something that we realize how important it is. Speaking again of myself and having some allergies that sometimes it doesn't allow me to breathe that well. Like, I recognize the miracle that breath is, and I recognize, wow, I'm breathing and it feels good and I'm grateful. But I don't think I had ever really thought that until I started having these allergic reactions, 12, 15 years ago. Before, it would just happen. That's just how life is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's true. You aren't as grateful for something until it's gone.
Yeah, you don't appreciate
it.
If you don't understand the opposite, you don't appreciate it. And this is all part of like the miracle of life. We have all these bad days, these bad times, these hard things, but they really serve a purpose in inspiring and filling our lives with like joy and gratitude and awareness, right? Awareness of the abundance of good that's kind of around us.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember, this reminds me of something you've talked about before with yourself, of how you have really high highs and really low lows, and how, that definition of high and low is what makes you feel it so strongly one way and the other, is that you go down pretty hard, but then you go up, way up, kind of more than the average person.
Do you think that's true?
And I think, I think so. Of the people I know, I think that's true. But what's amazing is that I think that's, what you're saying here is that to experience that much joy, you kind of have to go that low to really experience that level of joy also, which is interesting.
Yeah, I think there's always like an opposite reaction. And somehow the opposite is as true as the other, you know? It's like that yin and yang and that pull, that ups and downs that help you feel it. I agree with that. And I think that people are just naturally like that. Don't you think? Because I have felt like that kind of my whole life. And I feel like it's whatever, how I'm supposed to be. And both, I guess, serve me. But when I'm really up, a lot of good things can happen.
Yeah.
When I'm down, I go down harder than you. You're more steady state, right? Which is a steadying force in my life and our children's life. It's just awesome, right? But
yeah, but I wonder if I'm missing out on some of that amazing joy. I mean, I feel joy.
Yeah.
Obviously, I feel lots of joy. But I do kind of wonder sometimes if, because I don't go quite so low, do I not go quite so high either? I don't know. Does that matter? Maybe it doesn't matter.
I don't know if it matters. I just think it's kind of who we are. And I think this manifests itself in a lot of things. When I get sick, this is what I go down hard, but then I bounce back really quick too.
Yeah.
I'm like I can bounce back.
Yeah.
But I go down
fast.
hard and then I bounce back quickly.
Yeah, it's
Or
true.
sometimes things or people like linger. I don't really linger. I go, yeah. So it's interesting. And I think for whatever purpose, that's just kind of that's how my body is built. That's how I am,
Yeah, that's your chemistry.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is interesting. And I mean, it's a total miracle. All of these things.
Yeah.
A miracle.
Yeah. And
There's no better word to describe it.
It is. I agree. And I think the people that are the greatest miracle, the people that we have in our lives, the joy we feel with our children, with grandchildren, if you have them, with our friends, with our neighbors, whatever the case may be, and that's why it's so hard when they're not here. And that's the hope of Easter, right? Is that they will be here again. We will, be together again. People will live again. That is the story of Easter. And
another miracle.
And another miracle that we don't understand how that really happens.
No, we don't understand. But there's the hope of it, the belief of it.
The faith in it.
But
we don't know, no one knows for certain, and no one, and we don't understand necessarily how it would happen, but there's that faith and belief and hope that it could happen again.
Yeah. It just feels right.
It does.
Me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just feels right.
But it does to me as well. But how could it not how could it not? We grew up our entire lives, talking about this, celebrating Easter, feeling it, It does feel right. It would be sad if it was otherwise.
It would be sad. And I've thought of that as well throughout my life, of if I didn't have that growing up and just around me all the time, and that feeling, that faith, that hope, I would be in a totally different place.
Yeah.
Just emotionally. And
do you think you would?
I don't know. I think I would, but maybe not.
I don't know. I just can't imagine. You're just you're so full of light, and you're a light person and full of light. And so I don't know. I can't imagine you.
I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I think I would
that.
have some of that, but I do think I would have less hope. I think there would be more despair in my life and more thoughts of hopelessness if I didn't have that belief.
However, and I'm not trying to get too philosophical, and I know you don't like it when we do that sometimes, but like we just spoke about the yin and the yang.
Yeah.
I mean, part of what makes life so sweet, by the way, is that it's finite, that it's limited. What makes, quote unquote, our youth so sweet, or anything so sweet, is that it's finite. It's limited, at least for a time and season. And so that's something that I don't grasp or understand exactly, is how you find that commensurate joy, how you, when with something that's like everlasting and eternal or never goes away. Do you know what I mean? Because part of what makes this so sweet is the moments are fleeting.
Yeah.
We have this moment together right now under our bed in our house to talk about life and Easter. And this pretty soon we'll be back to the busyness of our kids and preparing for all our family that's coming over today for dinner and a celebration, right?
Right.
Which is great in its own right, but
this moment
is gone.
Is gone. But I think you can, even for eternity, I think you can still have that. Every moment, no moment, quote unquote, is going to last for eternity. You have moment after moment after moment. And so I think that's what that's why the phrase enjoy the moment, that's so amazing. So, whatever, it's
so profound.
So profound. Yeah. Is because it's moment after moment, and the moment never happens again. That moment never happens again. Even if you're living for eternity, you have lots and lots and lots of moments.
I agree with that, and I like that. But don't you think that there is some sweetness added by something being finite or limited?
Yes. Yeah, I can see what you're saying in that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see that.
But if there was like a quote to define Sally Burningham, would you agree? Like at least the last decade, I would say, the last 10 years. And I first started noticing this, maybe roughly 10 years ago, is enjoy the moment. Is it not?
It is.
Why is that?
Yes,
Why did that become your mantra? And I think that is your mantra. Would you agree?
Yeah. And really this comes from my mom.
Really?
Yeah. Because she started getting into enjoy the moment. I don't know if I was still in high school or if it was later than that, but it just, she said it a couple times. She had little things on the fridge that I'd noticed, and it just was resonated with me that, enjoy the moment. And I realized the older and older I got that I think it was when we started having kids, especially, that those moments go fast and you don't get to relive them.
Yeah. Those stages.
It's gone. Yeah, it's gone. And so enjoy it right then. And someone said to me, this goes along with it too. I remember, we were talking about, marriage. We were talking about marriage, and, this was in like a little class, and there was a lady in there who was older, and her husband had passed away, and she said, enjoy everything about your spouse and being married, because one day the annoying things that bugged you are going to be gone, and you're going to wish you had them, because that means the person's gone. Like she said that her husband always left his socks, around. And then when he passed away, she wished anything in the world to be able to pick up his dirty socks. So I've thought of that over and over through the years as well and we had kids when I heard this, but it just made me appreciate even more, like the things that would annoy me, like, oh my gosh, the kids left their shoes on the stairs again, or whatever it is. And so every time I have that thought and I go to pick up those shoes, I think, I'm so glad I get to pick up these shoes, because I love the person who left these shoes here. And that's the most important thing. And I'm glad that they're here with me right now.
Do you really think that every time?
I do think
you
that.
You do. And this is why Sally Burningham is an angel, everyone. I'm sorry. And I know you hate when people say that, but that is such a good attitude, because here's what I usually do. Hey, Truman, or hey, look, come get your shoes. We don't leave stuff around in our house. That's what I say. I say, we don't leave things behind. Like, clean up your stuff.
Yeah. Well, and it's important to learn how to clean up your stuff.
Evidently not that important.
No, it is important. But I'm saying, I do that as well. I do that some, but when it doesn't happen and I end up doing it myself just because I can't stand it anymore, then I say to myself, I'm glad that I have these shoes to pick up.
That is so cool. Should I start leaving dirty socks around? I don't really do that, but
no,
maybe
you
I
don't
should
leave
start.
dirty socks around.
Then you'll remember me, right? The dirty socks. Oh,
I could maybe think of something. I mean, I'd have to think for a minute, but I'm sure I could think of something.
I'm sure you could. I'm not sure you have to think for a minute. I remember this. You've said this a couple times through our marriage. The story you just told, I knew what you were going to say. And what era was that? Like, roughly, when did you hear that? And that's so interesting that was like so profound. Yeah, which is cool. But I mean, like, were we newlyweds? Did
No.
we have 4 kids? Did we have 2 kids? Was it like last year?
I think we had all 4 kids.
Okay.
But I think James, our youngest, was pretty little.
So 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Or so.
Yeah, roughly 10 years ago. And that's interesting because that's when you say you kind of think of me starting to really focus on that enjoy the moment. So there you go. They're connected.
They're connected
to each other. And I always kind of had that enjoy the moment, like I said, for probably, I don't know, like whenever my mom started doing, but it wasn't like so ingrained in me, I think, until probably around that time.
Mm-hmm. So how have you, do you feel like you've become an expert at that the last decade or become better? Like what have you done to become better or become an expert? What advice would you have for our listeners? Because I think you're pretty good at it. You often say it, no one's perfect at it, and it's really hard to technology and kids and life and the speed of life right now. Like it's very hard to slow down and enjoy the moment. So at least it is for me. I think it is for almost everyone. Do you meditate? I know the answer is no.
I don't meditate.
Do you do yoga? Not really. You don't really like it. Like,
No.
how have you practiced this? How have you gotten better at it? What advice would you have?
I think I just remind myself when I'm doing something that I start feeling this stress, this overwhelming feeling come in, which happens frequently for me, especially lately, the more and more we have going on. And I just kind of stop for a minute when I feel that coming on. I try to. Again, I'm not perfect at it, but I try to stop for a minute and say, okay, why am I doing this thing that I'm doing right now? And it's usually for something fantastic that I want to have happen, And so I just remind myself, well, I'm glad that I get to do this because this means whatever. Like, okay, that we're working on a wedding invitation list. Addresses and stuff, and it's
you
stressful.
love Excel spreadsheets.
It's stressful, and there's a deadline, and I have a lot of other things going on. And so when I start feeling that, when I'm typing in addresses, and I go, oh, I'm stressed out about this. I take a minute and I say, why am I doing this? I'm doing this because
you love the people.
Because I love the people that I'm doing it for. That I'm happy that they're getting married, and I want them to get married. And
you want people there to celebrate them.
And I want people there,
and so care about.
Yeah. So this is why I'm doing it, and so enjoy doing it as much as you can.
Well, this is the miracle of life. You are born somehow. You have a physical body that teaches you a lot of lessons. We should talk about that someday, our physical bodies and all that they teach us. You're born into a family. Everyone has a family. They're all different, and none of them are perfect. The only way actually they're the same is that they're all messed up in some form or fashion.
In some way.
So let's quit pretending.
We all know.
Individuals and families, there's no need to pretend that we're perfect or that everything's great, because it's not. But maybe that's a perfect family for you. Maybe that's a great family for you as an individual to learn in. We grow up, kind of by ourselves in our family. Maybe we get married, fall in love, and the adventure continues. We have kids, and then who knows what's next. We breathe, we get, we have to have foot surgery. We have to I have a medical procedure this week. It's going to be awesome. I can't wait. Like, I don't know. Things change, but it reminds me of like, there's a purpose in every season of life, the early stages, the middle stages, and I'm sure the later stages. There's beauty in every season of life, and life is a miracle.
I love it.
Don't forget it.
It is a miracle.
And it's a miracle that I found you, Sal, and that I'm with you.
It is a miracle. I said, we were led to each other. It's a miracle. Divine intervention.
Thanks for being with me on this journey.
Thanks for letting me be with you. It's awesome.
Is it fun?
It's so fun.
You enjoy the ups and the downs?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
Good night, Sal.
Good night. Love you.
Please leave a rating and review for Under Our Bed at your favorite podcast platform. And don't forget to subscribe to the Extraordinary Us podcast with Jeff Burningham as well.
Hey guys, it's Jeff from the Extraordinary Us podcast. Thank you so much for listening to Under Our Bed with Jeff and Sal, my wife and I, we record from a studio literally directly under our master bedroom. It's a great little place for us to hang out and have conversations that I hope are meaningful to you. There's another podcast I do, if you have not heard, it's called The Extraordinary Us, where I interview people, many people that you have heard of from a variety of fields, and we talk about life. Coming up in 2022, we're going to talk about the future. What does the future of the world look like in regards to technology, cryptocurrency, governments, and other things? Can't wait to see you there. Hope that you'll subscribe to Extraordinary Us.